introduction chile hey sorry then ki interrupt kha hey meeting ha ki record zel ha yama hai kha tuna Michael in ana record saka ma tunga leki pathu yana hey zomi scholar network kichi monthly circle study circle kini gi bang ahi thei tana kini somgi ge khatenga last Saturday kichi why here heka an initiative of Zo Academia ma i tu tung kha i topic diu material continuity of cultural capital in Lamka ai simkhan na tom chikon neida based on ethnographic fieldwork in Lamka. This presentation examines the social life of printed photographs to understand how cultural and social capital endure over time. Drawing on Pierre Bourdieu's framework, photographs are approached as forms of objectified cultural capital whose reproduction depends on everyday material practices of preservation and storage. While cultural capital is often assumed to persist through intergenerational continuity, such accounts assume the material stability that makes transmission possible. The case of printed photographs in Lamka shows that the capacity to preserve photographs over time depends on unevenly distributed conditions of storage and security. In this context, capital operates primarily through the material capacity to sustain continuity rather than through visible display. Hey, Saule Sausi Mama, then Changena, speaker din una Chang Semin, Gen Le Ilamenama, Teisiam, Teisiam Vek Dun Le, King Takia came on my le, Chang Takina, Kitesiam Vek Nilo, Yaika, speaker din una, Aman, the Hun, Ade Bangin online lan, Banga, thị xem thì đàn mà hay chỉ na ki interact đi wa then chang bang in le question r bang ki open dia comfortable dan na sapau hitale pau hitale ma hay chỉ na ama le comfortable di na inge na midang tele ina ngai khedi wa interaction hun question r hun chang ina question di khong ina ki prepare di wa ma China tuni tak khadwei thak kon welcome veka tuina mi som le gyan bangi patawa hun chia mule gingta hi to da kole minute som gingta to kiton na i topic ko ilut pa diwa ma hun kha speaker nu khuta ipengal dia aman kha ade bang bangina on la to dia wai zo changina question r hong di hi che banga hi pai di dan welcome speaker nu Jingle Nyang. The time is yours. Thank you.
Zomi Scholar Network le Zo Academia kang ki patu kena iti bang hun pya ka om manina screen kang share dio eh adok ya
Doc, Nika.
masa penin ka topik ka hile material continuity of cultural capital in India in Lamka ahia yai topik ka hile ka research ka PhD research apat ang pothya hiya nikum chale 2024 January ka patahia ka initial research interest hile visual anthropology lama hiya kalunglut pe na hi le photographs tung to na banga distinction Bourdieu theory zanga uh, capital different forms of capital no social cultural le economic capital the distinction the display the at this dan in why lungul na to yay topic ana zang kahia ma le ka fieldwork kon patak takena limlak limlak kale khom kha hak sama malam ka diak diak kena waiza kena contact personal contact bol masak ngai bangong poimo kapatina mi tuam tuam tung to na yaiten limlak how de hi achi te kyang ka va phamasa hi ke le chief tuam tuam ving tuam tuam kho tuam tuam chief te kyang ka va phamasa waya kan observe khata hi le photographs tamzo kha hi che bang to ai sai shong ke show dan box ai ke le cha aki kep dan kha mga very clean and aki kem lo much clean chile cha neatly placed display can mga straightforward taka ka kanagin tag bangong helawin chen ajak chu yai Pierre Bourdieu theory pat akilak dan na photographs te kha adia kayai mm, limlak luite a form of prestige ahia ai kha display de hoi taka chi dan in kan expect ai lele atam zo in hai chi dan a store ahia wai in ka research banga ka a trajectory ang henga khani pilot study da kong pai masa kal thum hiam kom nungina ka course mga ka paina lam ka heng sima jak ai le photographs te cha banga visual anthropology dan images dapat meaning kilahi representation a form of representation dan kya kingalawa hiya ke kana based on my observation attention shifted to what the photographs shows from what the photograph shows to what allows them to endure why penta ka hiya tu nya kong genut what does it take for photographs to endure and why is that endurance is not equally available why here why in ka the idea of cultural and social capital penon ngai tu asak thaka why base ay presentation yak song ka hiya Bourdieu ahi le sociologist ahiya aman a framework a cultural capital social capital, cultural capital, le economic capital, theory na bola, cultural capital pena hiya tu nei focus utu. Waite laka embodied, objectified le institutional hiya wait tua I focus I ilunggul pena hi le photographs hiya photograph which the belonging in forms that can be transferred and reproduced over time. Hiniliyay ama theory ama again a basic banga capital again jang ama adia a theory hile cultural capital
kan
it's
describe
often
châu giá lo
assumed to persist
sorry lo na slide pa hin ka the a slide na hek ta ya
khen ke ve
hieng mo khat ve bang sidan hiam in refresh thei do
se refresh dia le follow
holo beka lu thak chi khong apai khak jan le I try thak wa
bai ha
show nai lo bang an holo
adokta hai
do
tua
chat lo hi do e bang sidan nei do kan ve นี่ดอกตาดอกตาครับ
บอกกันอืม
อ่า thank you
อืมอ๋อเป็นนะก็นี่ตัวcultural capital จริงๆค่ะ it's often assumed that it will persist smoothly across generations. Dia ke smoothly ke reproduce like ka Bourdieu theory here ama again dane na cultural capital se from one generation to another the next generation ki reproduce je let's say ama na hi le yai pen education context again na hi himale tuni photographs zanga yai theory pen extend so mi here yai cultural capital pen uh, the assumption is that it can persist smoothly over time and reproduce as if continuity pen naturally available dana ki assume hiya hilele lamka fieldwork based sa ai ke ka observation le interview tungto na kan mo hiya ka hile yai assumption pen uh, uneven hiya mga factors tampi in contribute hay reproduce na dia wai pen uh, en why may na photography in lamka ci slide kun ko ya za ka hi le photography lo hiya research
เออ
ka patin na wai ten again na dan wa hobby dana analog to ngeno hiya himale lamka sunga studio photo studio ana nei ma sa polte mi tom tung to na kana ki ho pi he ya wai te hi le amau atam zo ten technical knowledge hong zil thi resource ane nei mo economic capital hong ana nei ja kwa gam na hodanga va paiwa technical knowledge hong vazila wai zo wai te zanga lamka studio hong hong khau hi kena photography chi pen ha very marker of status and privilege. Then, tamzo photography been restricted to the elites and the chiefs of Vingtom Toma. Why here? Why so access also tied to resources and social network. Ya limla ka kon waite hile nidanga ana elite group te la kapat in khen khat te pat he chief chi khong waite ina photographs hi chi banga display hoi takana niwa waite bana ka collection te pat ka etle atamzo chi un hop social network through pat ana kai khomo hiya by social network ka gen no pa hi le ani zo de ten ha photo de tampi copy tampi print ana home khyak te pol mo ana kem hoi te polin ana kem den lines in wai te hong le hiya uh, yeah. Plak ka suggest ut hi le ka gen ut hi le ya ya slide hat missing abanga eh ma kon lang mai dia conflict atom views and uh, uh, mga response ka na mo tungto ni na conflict le displacement in ana disrupt maamayay cultural capital and material object ana ko ikhom dano ha wai ka house in hong akihal kina ani zo maamat le mga that is supposed to be transmissible ahiya ilelew dana transfer thelo din mo na omja kina tuni presentation na akur question na kong lu de yai pena hi le bang chidana hi chida yai bang situation bang din mo na cultural capital bang chida reproduce the bang reproduce if there's no to reduce it or bangaw dan do environment na kele bang how why pen cultural capital din I count helai dam se yeah some what was it so what endured was not the household archives but fragments in it requires one thing cultural capital through endurance why pen hi le ka then again maabangin na core intervention na hi a presentation na karot pen hi le new form of capital on introduce like theory bol ka hi zen ke objectified cultural capital it has always been were damaged, abandoned. However, then again, photographs survived because copies had been distributed across social network. Ni tuam tiang. Ya lim la kong ko ipen bang le. Ya teng akit hay to ale hilaw. Le anakim tu penin ha tuam apat. Ya iten a wedding photo wang ha ka hit sa anaka ikhom te hiya man anakep hoi za kani akep na bel ahoy hello mai cha bom sung ai kele suitcase bom khong ai cha akoi to pa hiya wain banga suggest si le display hiti banga display penin although it may activate cultural capital, the storage makes the reproduction possible. By this I mean that cultural capital penha Bourdieu theory dana there's the general assumption is that it can be reproduced aki reproduce dana is aki assume without considering the banga the space through which penaki reproduced the ways that display may activate cultural capital but storage makes reproduction possible why here conclusion katsina hilele pen ha I mean a conclusion si pen ha kagel here photographs exist as objectified cultural capital only insofar as they endure materiality materiality pen aki collapse yang cultural capital cannot be reproduced regardless of who owns it or where is it visible objectified cultural capital functions only if it remains available for appropriation. As a result, archives tuni honga Lamka photographs available it's already a filtered one shaped not only by what is visible but also who could materially retain over time. Here. Then akipata kongen maabangina I can hile photographs the site of distinction where I look at what is displayed, who was visible, how status was performed. Na dia photos study kahiya himale fieldwork in why clear distinction. So in photographs the visual anthropology beyond on here. Lamka context again laile Lamka context cultural it does not endure through display or visible distinction. More objectified cultural capital functions only if it remains available for reproduction, which means it endures through material continuity, through the capacity to retain, store, or even protect cultural objects across time. Because cultural capital does not persist automatically through transmission. Because the core idea of cultural capital is that it can be it has to be transmitted over a generation. It risks focusing on moments of visibility while overlooking the process that determines what survives at all. No, photographs ito ko. Work in progress here ka chapter ka get lelelay here. Why is kina yayin further question khaton on questions saka why under what condition does cultural capital remain transmissible in the first place? Apen tu ni presentation answer nei ka hi chi ka hi ke le ka research ka fieldwork tung to na ka mu khya kai le cultural capital can straightforward de ka study som pen it does not persist automatically through display or visibility. No, it depends on the material survival of the visual objects, and which is also why Lamka context yet a certain capital, cultural capital te cha survive cha society dang te yet changa cultural capital te pass on from one generation to generation cha now ta ka pai the hilele ya a condition pen ha constrained by many things cha many conflict displacement ai kele migration chi khong tom ja ka why then effect here example ka ethnography apat example pen kon get kha ke ya collection ana how ma khat in kwan in 97 lagvela a resource abanga a collection tengo sumanga chawai waya a remaining pen in tuama anapiak son te wai ten anakiam lai ha but that does not result in what we define as what we know as cultural capital wai pen ha rethink thing imagine sa tu kon kenya za hi dai male ka at the di a hi ke le mga suggestion chi khonga le yai cultural capital hi chi a hi chi na no bang na the ule no suggestion no apat poi mo ma teng hi di ki pa
Bảo hỏi mà mày ý short brief takin le sweet takin ma nan zawa i bảo hỏi à ý tu hun in na question are itidiam ai ke interaction hun i hong ngal dia dena i speaker nu na thil explain te i siam lo khong kha ya mai ke le question ni dot be nuam khong om zen le ai hun kha i hong dia hỏi i chi kom komela kon ken le question chỉ đi ha ken ke chu ka specialization ya lama hiat ke ama ke kha English literature lama hiya ilele ke thi siam tan bang tan yam chu om sama ilele an na ka man vek ke ka chi da honest tak kenama ya specialization lam le i tua i thilgen te kha i 11 dia ma kon dot dek kha yai digit lâu tập photographyของนั่นเกณฑ์นะคะdigital cái shift tai in chính mà tu hun bằng ạ ngoài khả năng research na bằng tan timeline chỉ là cái bằng tan không là phải chắc digital photography làm không này khá điểm ngoài làm te bằng chỉ tan na focus chỉ không vận động dia ai 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 khá first question hian lan adang ti kha midang te nama nan ngai to kom leo chi le kon ngin ngal de
digital photo te hi le can study ma ka hiya in ma le yai particular a presentation dia ka dia a physical te tu lai ka at lai ta ka hiya face a hing mga section a hing ka hiya a first na ha old photos sin ka hiya na old photos ti chang ha a lamka oldest photographs a kani collection a kani pen 1930s la ka hiya wai te apat 80s tan te kha category kha ta ko ya wai ban ten kha 90s apat 90s apat yai early 2000 lak ten ma digital camera ang kipat matan wai teng kha category kha ta ko ya ban teng digital te chi chang kha tua ka gen pen to hongki tuang non lo de jak chu tua ka focus pen kha the materiality of printed photographs wai ja ka specific ta ka printed photographs cha convention hi ma hei tuni presentation pen ma le digital te a hi le amawa chu yai ma study di hileng distinction lam ka ka banga ka research interest pen ma hi dia visual anthropology ama what is being shown in the image Christopher Pinney camera indica ci apat inspiration la ko mena chamber of dreams at pena how a person portrays themselves in image through images how the ideal self is being portrayed ci dana at som ka hiya waite analysis chu pailal lai hi taka
Thank you mama i abana midang question dangut khong yam ya cha i raise hand khong le raise hand here here question dangom đó
Oh, hello. Quanto visual, metendera. Eh, the presentation interesting, mama. Question ni dot no kon ne ya. Yai to na presentation pen so pass lam hin ka thaya mo. Printed photograph hi le to lai so a cultural capitals yak le hi se lo na behavioral change om ta loi bangena halim la ki print kol ke ya. Ke bangena ka print ngei kol ke len kanu le ka pa ke hun la ya ma thiran document dang hatan tua ma au che la wale tu lai kha chu economic capital ba iling so ma le leng smartphone camera nei lo kha azang smartphone phone hi mim camera nei lo kha chu azang i omnon lo khol ke dia awa hi na he capital Bourdieu theory pen bang che ta how far can we push that in that current context so ja so capital ja ki se lo wale ami nga le behavioral change hom ta to elo generation ale lim la kepin non lo to e khit ate bang na chu aprin diam chỉ khác cái thầy non ta lo awai a kha to phone phone toy pe umai na kha lim la thei tao awai a hi na kha to he ya nang 1950s 60s 70s toy wai un la ya chu wai a physical ownership of why capital be the printing studio or wai alim la wai camera nei pen to hon kit bang chet lo in cha ka bang china video Europe in na push di wai ka question khat hi le question ni na to ini dang la ya lim la ka na haw te ting ting in a le ha camera kha na nei vek khol lo un chin wai hun la ya ka hi photo studio ko ngom mo wai to i banga photo studio anunga kutup ina riam Taj Mahal yam talim la kong cha om thil tampi ana ke print bang le kho ma wai hun a photo ki cha ga mi ting ting na wai to a album nei te bang le kha wai hun a dia wai alung lut le a camera lam alung photography lam lung lut le ong hi se lo yai photo studio ina ana enable bang le kha o ma wai pen le nang analysis abang china na putin I can consider ke ya wai photo studio concept pen kha ai cha alien in a background na kutub minar hiam Taj Mahal ko o ma chali mi kila sek voi mo hilen camera chu kinai se lo hilen alim la album ha kinai tho ai pen ka ya Bourdieu ti so ai Bourdieu na a theory la ya kha amao ai huna ai French industry til apai a context pen ki bang lo lo tin chen ai pen kha bang china how are you using the theory how are you pushing it chi pen kon dong di
question hỏi mà hi ken le ka struggle khata hi Bourdieu ka zat na ja ka hi le ka lung lut na tak tak ten just then again ma bang na straightforward study of how images are used more to as a form of visibility as a form of being seen chị hi Roland Barthes chị hong visual anthropology lam to Bourdieu lam kalung lu ja kina anya ka gom khom som a hiya hi ma le tua ka focus te hi le tamzo wedding photos here weddings and photography ha mo kalung lut na weddings pen ka choose na ja ka hi le they are the perfect site where social display and distinction pen ha evident na pen danin kanamu ja ka wedding style ka here wai ja ka fieldwork ka data collection ka patina wedding photographs so en ka here studio te ka vapai changena banga mi nidang tu lai dana wedding photoshoot chi khong omlolo a here based totally based on ethnography ma data ka mudan dana why based chawa result chi dia analysis ka bola here amaugen dana nidanga wedding photographs chi dan the concept of wedding photoshoot chi khong omlo hile 1994 ra couple khaten wedding photoshoot ana bolu a hiya wai pen ha ama again dana lamka ale wedding photoshoot masa pen le hi mai thei wai pen printed form am chen wai collection le ka kanala a wai pen a hi le wai la ya rare wai hi ja kena azo banga ama alom te hi ja kama zini pen pa akiteng te alom te hi ja ka anabang khat alim analakha lehi zoma lai chin wai ja ka photo studio balak te ka focus hilowin chin family photos or mostly wedding photos ya mo ka et wai tung to na ka observation na pat object placement ay kele anak store dan pen pat yai idea khat chini yai the material continuity pen kha ong pot kya yai pen initial proposal ka plan dan le hello mai pen something that came out of the field khata hiya why tung to na analysis bol ka hiya why lo tu lai photo printing ki hi non lo chi pen chu general assumption ka sa ke khongin le photo print lai ka hiya ja chu e pen ha again ma banga behavioral changes le hiya and also hobby le ma e pen ha generalized the nai lo ja chu wedding photographers take hope ya tam join photo book khong de yuma e kele any event om changa photo book ma de no printed maybe different form of printing so hi mai le printed form I thau lines and why pen economic capital in the thu pop ma hi ajak chu kiman hello photo book chi khong kiman hello hi economic capital in role tampi play why bana social capital in the thu pama cultural capital in banga na taste na aesthetic banga chi khong le Bourdieu theory pen chu can relevant salai ka hi tullo ka chi kan yai tu lai tu current situation ale jang to dile ama a chet jang li ke le ma take the theory forward thei di cha tu ni kon gen ma banga cultural capital pen aman he assumes that it's actually reproduced hey mai hilele under what conditions bang condition what if the material continuity pen bang khat lo keep lo banga hile how do you claim that this is a cultural capital chi pen why jagna relevant ki tutan kam udan itu relevant ka sala kan dong
Um,
ya ma
Hello.
hai
Na presentation ka hoy mama culture heritage preserve now chikhat le hi amo hoy ka sa twa kan kondo no ai le ka ngai visual anthropology no ya ka visual culture ya ke ka na explore de ai chi kamu why no ya ka audio visual ki chikhat le yom ya mom ai pen ka Waya ka to a visual te ka atang pia yetle they're mostly limited to images ang yasimin chin. Why audio visual to yung make macam not just images but video ay ke sound bang mo film chỉ tiêu bang corporate hinjin tua nang na study na ka wailam na explore kaya ay ke visual so ama na kaya chỉ cần dong na ni.
Hi visual chị chang chu aveka ki la ho me ama magazine tan pha leki bang khat tela hi le leki focus pen chu photograph chu hi pot video le chu kam mu za dena wedding photoshoot ni ka chi te video le om ahia 1994 ama wai hong hi di kana kale khak uchilo chu video lam ka focus hi lo manina photographs adyak taka photographs as object ka enut ka hi manina ka focus ka photograph so hip hop
Hi Kier,
no hai hai
kita mau kon tong dia soalnya khat
mm
form.
mm mm
Nine kalau nine la kang lut ka kisak le ana be man hidin kaza kim khat chet kia bangkat na objective bang lam diwali ka chichu bang ana find out som sim na ken sale chi mai the ken na mi is kha mai ze ki mai the ma wai kha nang gen chu the ja mai thank you.
yai yai presentation pen cheta chu ka fieldwork tum to na ma ka observation tum to na bang thil banga ka thil zong lo pi ka mu hyak dang khat wai pen beyond my research plan de ha wai pen kana mu hyak khat hi ya wai pen the case of printed photographs pen how can photographs the image as banga visual anthropology te gen ma banga to see and to understand images as the power storytelling devices camera as power truth telling devices chi dana ka focus hi himale Bourdieu theory chi khong to ka kai khong chang na aki reproduce dan ma photographs te aki reproduce dan is a form of cultural capital ke che ya wai pen aki reproduce dan pen ka et chang ina yai cultural reproduction theory om te limited kasama ama wai ja kina yai the material condition in which photographs survive pen focus zo ka un manina yai pen working chapter pat kon lakya ka hi hota ma pen yai tunya ka present pen hi le ka thesis topic tak pen chu hi lo phat
Okay. Nasim khak sak nasim tak sale che mai the bang khat to again dina rolan ba sa apen ma image music and text den khana sim hin ta dia ma mai pen bang lecture 11 ma le kiram bai ma mai thank you bai thank you ya ki pat
Tăng ông lại đó question. Ông non lâu hiểu lẽ thì chỉ tận không ai điểm mà cái bảo hỏi mà hạt bị thắc con nghiên thắc đã thì tụi này ta cả session giặt thiểu khác speaker nu tung à hạt về cái bảo thu con nghiên thắc cả hỏi bạn à participant te nó về con à nó tung lẽ cái bảo thu con nghiên thắc cả thì cái topic enlightening mama kia dia le ka theibe tampiom thak no le nana ham phat pi du ne ka ta hoi sekina ki paka i close mauna i speaker nu apan banga closing remark hiam bang hiam khat thil gen na pom lai le hoi igen sak dia hoi zo chang ina a closing chidan ina bolema last na dina anything advice hiam bang hiam any oh male closing na dina ma
chỉ đàn đã chuông tuần lâu thì lẽ yay it yay yay topic mà yay tua con gen pen ha ka piak pat na le hiya azo ka get lai hi to kha yay muna ka koi khyak the con present the pen ha opportunity nong piak sa ka ki pak pet ma hi abana he questions ki mote tung to na le mai cha abana ka progress ka thil gel na progress banga hon contribute ma din ka ging ta ki pak
yeah pa hoi ma mai banga nang ki pa thu non gen na ko angai khe tu tia dia kha ki pa hoi zo hi ya ma je banga til learn the na the opportunity ko wa dia le om hi manena e yai kha tunia dia session nu another Saturday ki zo thei no na hi manena ki pa thu na ve kwa tunga kon gen thak taka anon lam changa le ki mu thei xiao xiao non di na dam chat di wa topic interesting deu deu bang ini wale chini ki share zel di wa mo he opportunity zangena chidan kan le adang kinterang na di le kini lom lom lo hi na ma kha make use of it make use dia mamana le ibe kwa kimu khomzel lamen hi na I think ina konzo dia everyone thank you for attending and good night.